This video is brought to you by Pangea Charging, experts in multifamily EV charging. With over 5,000 residents served, Pangea Charging makes reliable, at-home EV charging accessible for apartment communities nationwide. Visit PangeaCharging.com to get chargers installed at your building. I'm driving 2,198.2 miles in my fully electric Ford F-150 Lightning, leaving from right here in Houston, Texas, to Portland, Oregon. I'm Anup Parikh. I'm the proud business owner of Pangea Charging, a national EV charging installer and service provider. This is my business in motion. Let's go. Well, what a pleasure to pick you up right here in Portland. Matt Teskey with Chargeway. I figured there's no one better to introduce me to, well, maybe not introduce, but show me that I'm using Chargeway app correctly, because I use it for the first time, though you know I'm a fan and I just follow your work. But I wanted to make sure I gave myself the first impression on my own a couple days ago.
Okay.
But I feel like you should give me the rundown. So I opened Chargeway, amongst my many other EV apps, but tell me what, so I have added my car.
Yeah, so basically once you've added your vehicle, it color codes your plug type. So you have an F-150 Lightning, so instead of using engineering terminology, we just use colors. So you have a green plug, and then it shows you all the stations that have a green plug you can use.
And so that green plug was identified as soon as I said I drive an F-150?
Yep.
It just did it automatically?
Automatically.
So what does green mean?
Green, for those who know the terminology, is J1772 and CCS.
Got it.
And so then we use numbers to identify the power level offered at a station and the maximum power your vehicle can request, because that will dictate your wait time. From current location, you can just type in destination. We're going to what?
Government.
Government
Trillium
camp.
Lake.
Trillium Lake is where we're going, I guess, but government camp is fine too.
Government camp, Oregon.
And then if you hit the round trip switch, it's going to calculate the trip as round trip. And so now it's going to give you an out and back calculation. So just click continue. So if you're leaving with 87%, you can adjust it down to 87%. And so that's going to give you, again, what you have right now. So it's within 15 miles of what your car is calculating. And this is also based on how you've been driving recently as well. But this is algorithms based on what we've gotten back from drivers. Okay. And if you then click continue, what it's going to do is then route the trip up and back. And so hit use selected route, and it's going to look up and back saying you've got enough range. So round trip, if we just went up and back, it'd be about, a little over 2 hours.
And 115 miles.
Yeah, and if you scroll up on that, it's then going to show you, well, here's what you left with. You got to government camp with this, and then on your drive back, you'll arrive back to Portland with about 46%.
And if I needed a charge, I'm guessing it would plop those into...
It would automatically show them. This then shows you all of the chargers along that route. Okay. So if you needed to stop, so there's level 7 charger, level 6 charger, level 4 charger up at the government camp. So you see what your options are. And if you tap on any of those pins right now, it's going to tell you that that's a station you can use, but it's not suggested because you don't need it.
Sure.
It visualizes all the things we know drivers need to know, which is, can I connect here?
Right.
Can I pull up and just plug in?
Right.
And beyond that, how long do I wait based on the car and the charger?
Sure.
If you went back to the map and clicked on a higher powered charger, let's say like a level 6 or level 7 somewhere. Let's zoom actually out, because downtown's a lot of level 2s. So
7. Yeah,
click on that 7 right there. So again, that's going to then say, okay, this is a 45-minute charge. It's not going to be a 2-hour and 40-minute charge.
Right.
So that's what the number system helps you do, is you understand then what your vehicle can do at any given station.
And so is the number 1 through what?
1 through 7.
1 through 7, with 1 being a wall outlet?
Yeah, 1 and 2 are similar to what we always have talked about in the industry, like a typical wall outlet or a level 2 charger at home. We kept that the same way. What we discovered in all of our work is that if you call every fast charger a level 3 charger, everyday people that hear that go, oh, they're all the same.
Right.
And the answer is, no, they're not.
Yeah, definitely, that's a great point.
By how this just showed. So a 50 kilowatt charger in downtown was almost a 3-hour charge.
Right.
This 350 kilowatt charge is a 45-minute charge.
Right.
So that makes all the difference in the world.
Thankfully, we have enough charge, so we're not gonna. I can put this aside.
I think we'll be good for today.
Navigate ourselves to Trillium Lake, and we'll keep the conversation. We got about an hour and a half ahead of us.
Yeah.
And I guess let's get going.
Let's get going.
All right.
My first car was a Chevy Cavalier. It was
Okay.
the Z24, like I had the sedan 4-door before, but then I got a Z24 coupe because I grew up in California and all my buddies had Hondas.
Right.
And so I wanted to have a fun coupe that I could, modify and tune. And all my buddies made fun of me dearly for it because everybody else had Hondas and Acuras and whatever.
So there's a point of like sticking out, like you wanted the car to be different. Okay.
Yeah,
that's
I
cool.
really did want to be different, and it ended up being that because of that. I mean, if I had have never bought that car, I wouldn't be sitting here talking to you right now, because
That's interesting.
my automotive industry and my career in it wouldn't have happened if I hadn't bought that car. Because what ended up happening is I took the badges off, I lowered it and whatnot, and
I think of that in my head. It's like mostly all the 90s.
Yep.
But yeah. I wonder
yeah,
if that's like
this started.
the
This would have
era.
been 1996 and 7.
Oh, okay, perfect. Yeah, this is when all that's taken off.
Oh no, it was
Spoilers and
Yeah.
Fast and Furious comes out in 1999. Obviously, you were a car enthusiast, but there was no better solution to cars, so you weren't thinking, oh, like this is a gas car and it's dirty. Obviously, you enjoyed it for what it was
Yeah.
in the moment with the tech that was available.
One time I played soccer as a kid. I was out in the soccer fields. My mom came to pick me up, and she told me the story when I was older. I was probably like 7 or 8 years old, and I was just standing there staring out like into the distance. And she walked up. She's like, "Okay, we're going home." And I was just looking, and she walked. She's like, "What are you doing?" I said, "That's disgusting." And she went, "What? What?" I said, "That. You can't see the mountains." And she goes, "Oh, the pollution." I went, "Yeah." Because we would go to Idaho in the summers and winters,
Oh, and you'd see it.
and it was but Idaho was beautiful.
Yeah.
And I was
Wow.
like, "Why? That's terrible." And she said, "Yeah, well, that's pollution from cars and other things." And I thought, okay, so what do we do? And so as a little kid, I realized that was a problem. But then as a little kid, I fell in love with cars.
I don't know if you know this about yourself, which is like, I think there's a bit of mystery about you and your career and your entrepreneurship that I don't think many people know. I don't know if you feel that way. Like, I don't think people know enough about you.
I would say that's accurate.
Okay.
I mean, on one hand, I just don't like talking about myself.
Yeah, and yep,
And
I get that.
And partly too is because a lot of my background, is what I was doing, and now I'm doing something new. But I do see myself as a kind of a black sheep in the industry, because when I came into the industry, it was with the intent to change a lot of the conversations that were happening and to help people think differently.
Right.
Because I wanted to showcase that from what I could see, it's like, look, if we're going to accelerate EV adoption, we can't keep using the tactics we've been using because they're not working. My entire intention is to help accelerate EV adoption through the work we do. But in turn, what it then highlights is a lot of the people that have been doing this for a long time maybe didn't have the right strategies to actually get things to be where we want them to go. The American public, they want to buy cars. They buy 15 million new cars a year, 30 million used cars a year. The public likes buying cars.
Yeah.
So the idea that we need to get people to buy cars isn't the point.
Right.
The entire reason why owning an EV is different is the fuel. You're never gonna go out and buy a car that runs on a fuel that you don't understand or trust.
Right.
That's not gonna happen. And when the incumbent product that has been conditioned into car ownership for decades, which is gasoline, is a magic liquid that's on every corner and is called one word like regular or premium, that means consumers aren't thinking about the technology. They just know that magic liquid makes their car go. So we're trying to convince millions of people around the world, I mean billions arguably, to switch from this liquid they've been using for decades into electricity, which is far more complex, which is an invisible product. And we're just trying to say, yeah, just do it. You just gotta plug in. Just do it.
Right.
And then someone with eyes and ears that's just an everyday person looks around and goes, what are you talking about? Where is this stuff? What do you mean? There's no signs? Like, look right there, bang, gas,
Right.
next right, chevron. That is everywhere, and there's nothing for that related to electricity as a fuel. You can tell it's an afterthought to just kind of, throw something on a sign and say, no, we took care of that. That's now an EV corridor.
Right.
And my response is, there was not a communications or marketing professional in the room when that decision was made. It creates the illusion to people of like, okay, there's an EV charger there. I guess that means all of them, if I go there, I can use it, right?
Right.
But people like you and me and every EV owner goes, well, does it have the right plug? What's the power level there?
Right. How long will I be there?
How long will I be there? What's the network you're using?
Right.
Those are important factors.
What do I need to pay?
What do I need to pay?
Well, we're approaching Trillium Lake, so can't wait to continue the conversation there.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
Well,
I'm sorry we couldn't get a better review for you in Oregon.
yeah, you really blew this one.
Yeah, you picked the perfect day.
You have no idea. This has been a long time coming for me. This is like 5 years as a vision, as you probably know, 2 years in planning. So my curiosity has taken me to a lot of places, but never in an all-electric vehicle road trip from Houston to Portland. So this is absolutely a first. I want to properly introduce you, Matt Teskey, founder of Chargeway, dog dad of Rudy, I put it.
Yes.
Anything else we should add to your accolades and credentials?
Oh, well,
titles?
yeah, I was going to say, I'm EV driver, and I'm here to accelerate that industry as fast as possible.
Okay,
So,
perfect. Well, no, I'm super thrilled about the conversation we've had, getting here, and just, this is amazing. I have no other words, and this is so cool. So, speaking of being the founder of Chargeway, here's the thing, right? You have always struck me, for as long as I've known you, or first found out about you via LinkedIn, I feel like. I think that's how it started.
Probably, yeah.
Okay.
I know we met in person in Texas at some events, but I
Sure.
think it was LinkedIn first.
And so what's always I've found interesting is you are a mystery to me, right? Like, and in a good way.
Yeah.
There's a lot of information, almost noise in the EV industry. And on the drive here, we pooped on the industry quite a bit, but
we were holding the industry accountable.
Yes. Okay. I
Yeah.
like that way of
Yeah.
saying it. And so the mystery is that I've always found you to be someone who doesn't overhype something. You're quiet just enough to like make moves, do what helps your business grow. And so I really want to learn more about you in the business. So I guess really with Chargeway, can you tell me first what problem is Chargeway solving?
Yeah, I mean, the problem we focused on from the outset was we need to take what is a very technical discussion around EV charging and simplify it down so that everyday people can use it and enjoy it, and they can see how it works in their life.
Okay.
It's really the challenge that I've stumbled across in my own EV driving experience was it's not about the car really, it's about understanding how to use electricity as fuel in a way that works for you based on the car you drive, where you live, what your lifestyle is. And that's already complicated, but then when you complicate it further with electrical engineering, it gets more complicated, and then all of a sudden you have to ask yourself, well, what are we actually asking people to do? It's switch from regular gas. So we want to make charging as easy to understand as possible.
And that's the phrase I've come to pin you as synonymous with. If you are just getting to learn about Matt, you'll see the electricity as a fuel. I've kind of defaulted as that's your tagline. And I do agree, because I've said these cars have 4 wheels, they have a powertrain, they have windows, they have all the stuff. The car is not what's really as important in the transition. Like for me to switch, it's about where am I going to fill up electricity as a fuel.
Yeah, once it's full, whether you're talking gas or electricity, they both operate as a form of mobility.
Right.
It's the trust you can have in the vehicle you have based on the fuel that powers it.
Knowing enough about Chargeway, just enough to be knowledgeable, not fully, but are you a software / app, mobile app business? Are you hardware? Because we'll get into it, but Chargeway provides these pieces of equipment to dealerships, or are you a dealership enablement business?
Yes.
all of them.
Well, to be perfectly honest, what we realized was we defined a way to explain charging easily. Instead of using complicated terms, we use colors for plug types, simple numbers for power levels. And then we use software to translate what that means for the car you select. And so all that means is, yes, we're a software company.
Okay.
And so it happens to be that we're a mobile app. That's the most simple way to apply it to anybody individually, but we can take our software and apply it through the customer journey. So that means if you're researching online, we can have a web tool where you can visualize charging for the car you're shopping for. When you go into a showroom, we have kiosks we call the beacon. That's the hardware. You can see the exact same user interface in a showroom, and then you can take that interface with you in your pocket in a mobile app.
Okay. And that's interesting. You mentioned that the beacon. Yesterday we were stopping for dinner, or actually, yeah, charge and dinner. Very convenient. And we spoke with this driver next to me and said, hey, just pull out your phone. What kind of mobile apps do you have for EV charging? I was like, do you have Chargeway? And he's like, well, I don't know. Let me check. And he opened his phone. He had 5 apps. Was Chargeway on it or not? He was from here in Portland.
Oh, well, yeah, probably.
He was.
I was going to say probably.
He was, and you know what's interesting? He's like, oh, I didn't know the founder was from here, which, you know, most people aren't going to know, but I thought that was cool just to tell him, hey, like, right in your backyard is this person who's built this company, and solution that you're using in your everyday life.
Well, yeah, and you kind of pointed out a little bit, and you said we were talking on the way up. You're like, you're kind of a mystery to some people. Like, what have you, like, where did you come from, kind of thing. And again, it's never been about me. It's been about the solution we created, and I want that solution to be used by drivers and by industry. So if I get a chance to talk about it like this, it's a lot of fun.
Right.
And arguably, I guess I could do more about my storytelling, so that's why we're here.
That's exactly why I'm here. I do want to share and tell the story and yours that you've been telling me. So tell me, I think you kind of shared about this, the catalyst of why Chargeway. Like, what was, because I know and remember how I started my business, and it was pretty straightforward, but I feel like for a lot of people, it's a culmination of things. So was yours one, boom, that's it, I got to do this? Or was there like, I had 5 experiences and suddenly, you know what? I'm putting these together, beautiful minds set up, and like, this is the solution.
I think it was a combination of my experience in the automotive industry combined with messing up a road trip with my wife with our first EV.
Okay.
and a lot of the work I've done in my career is marketing and branding and communication. And so really what it was for the inception moment was that first road trip I took with my wife. I convinced her to get an EV. I wanted one. And so we got a Chevy Volt. So I wanted to maximize using the car to plug it in. Mm-hmm. And then when I called the resort we're staying at and they didn't have charging, even though I thought they did, but they had an electrical outlet. And my wife posed a very honest question to me, which was, you're a car guy. I've been in the automotive industry for most of my career. And she's like, if you couldn't do this, how would I? Right. And I thought she just posed a great question because millions of people are going to think that same thing.
Right.
And so the inception was really that moment, but then it really took taking time to research it and ask, what's the industry doing? How are we trying to solve this? And it really came down to, yeah, we're not trying to sell people on a new car as much as we're trying to sell them on a new fuel experience.
Sure. And I feel like I don't want to abuse trendy business buzzwords, but it feels like that sounds like a first principles approach. Like, you saw a problem, I want to dive into the most simplest way to address it, which what I've heard you tell me is your app will show charging stations and power levels by simple terms. Yep. Color-coded. Green is like this type of port. Mm-hmm. And set 1 through 7. 1 is the slowest, 7 is the fastest. And where it ranges in the kilowatts, you don't need to remember those numbers. No. You just need to know 1 through 7. Yeah,
well, I mean, the thing that's most challenging, and it's often discussed by EV owners, is how do you explain charging curve? Where the car plugs in it with a low state of charge and it's got a lot of power coming to it, but then it slowly ramps it down because it's basically protecting the battery. And then how does that relate to the charger you connect to? How much power can your car take? And all those different things. And the truth is, we're trying to get people to move away from a fuel experience where they remember the word regular, and it takes 5 to 10 minutes, and it's everywhere, and it's highly marketed.
Right.
That's our competition. And so we can't go into that competition trying to teach people to be engineers.
Right.
We're going to fail, and we're seeing evidence of that.
I agree. This is why most people, I feel like, are just like, where am I charging? There's not many chargers. It takes too long. We talked about speed. So how would you classify in Chargeway's history? You started in 2017 officially?
Yeah, that's when I walked around at a conference with a laptop and a PowerPoint saying, I have an idea. So I've been working on it years prior,
sure,
but the first time I talked about it publicly was 2017.
Yeah. So in that time, almost now 8 years, what would you say have been the major milestones that you've achieved so far? Can you speak to that? The big ones, right? Like, let's say top 3, because obviously one is just length of time. I look at this industry, a lot of people come in for about 1.5 years, 2 years, and then they're out. So you've survived. That's a big accomplishment in this industry. What are some others?
I think the biggest challenge, but also what ended up being kind of the biggest milestone at first, was it went from Chargeway being a concept of how to talk about charging to actually being a software platform.
Okay.
And that we launched our version 1 of our software mobile app at the end of 2018, basically, and into 2019. And it was, again, a nice proof of concept. But I'd say the next major milestone was showcasing that we could take that and apply it to a lot of industry needs. So that was, supporting utility programs, supporting drivers in mobile apps, supporting outreach education, training at dealerships. That was a process, but a culmination of, to me, that's a milestone. And I think milestone 3 was when we decided to just revamp the entire platform and modernize it with a brand new interface. Again, still the same principles of color for plug and number for power, but really beautify the product in a way that we always wanted. And I think that really translated to having a much more attractive product across the board.
Okay.
And that process took 6 years.
To achieve those milestones.
Yeah. And amidst that was COVID.
So yeah, oh man, yeah. Tell me about that. That's no one could have accounted for that, especially because you started your business before it. I started after, so
Yeah.
didn't have that much interruption. So would you say things, in your opinion, from when you started to now, have they gone to plan? Do you feel like you're underperforming, overperforming? Like, how would you, with the vision you had, where do you think? And is it all attributed to how you think your business is, or like, hey, market conditions are kind of like changing the nature of your business?
Oh, that's
performance of.
It's certainly true today with just like the headwinds we have politically and things like that. I would say I'm really proud of what we've built as a product with our small team, because we're a very small team and we don't have any venture capital funding. We are EV owners that built this product.
Okay.
And we have a few angel investors who are EV owners that see the importance of it. And so to me, that's an important thing, from a lens of how have we accomplished that's important. But I mean, overall, like, where do I see our success at? I don't deem that we're going to be successful until we see a wider adoption of what we're showcasing to the industry and to the public.
Sure.
Because I think that's when we're really going to translate it into being a useful solution. But for the people that do use Chargeway, that understand what the challenge we're solving, it happens all the time. We had a review yesterday in the Google Play Store. Literally, the review, all it was finally an EV charging app that isn't utter garbage. I thought, okay, I'll take that compliment.
Well earned, yeah.
Yeah.
And I think you remember, this was like a year ago. I was at a Walmart, as I typically do, talk to these people charging at fast chargers, and I spoke to this guy traveling Austin, Houston, on his way to the Houston airport, and he said, I was like, what apps do you use? And he's like, and he said Chargeway.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, hey, like, I know the guy who's behind it.
Yeah, so I was looking around and I found it on Chargeway, like the nearest Electrify America to the airport. Yeah.
Dude, I know. Look. All right, nice. That's actually, I know a friend who runs that company. Matt, big plug to you for having Jacob use your app. So maybe a question that comes to mind is, can you tell me, how do you market Chargeway? Because, there's a lot that goes into this question, but is it ads? Is it you rely on dealers to, because I will tell you a conversation I had yesterday, the guy said he learned about Chargeway through the dealer. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if that's because of a beacon. So the question is, how do you get people to know about Chargeway if you're either a new EV owner, or you've been an existing EV owner, they don't have Chargeway? How are you reaching these folks?
That's the biggest challenge I think we have is that at the end of the day, if you want widespread marketing, you either get something that goes viral, gets guerrilla support, gets grassroots support, or you have a lot of dollars you can spend on marketing and you can target people well. The challenge we've had is it's been a balancing act between the two, but we were also very early in identifying this consumer psychology and consumer behavioral problem. So rewind 5-6 years when we first introduced Chargeway, a lot of those people were still very early adopter innovators. They were thinking very differently about what they wanted from charging, and they wanted to learn all the details. They took pride in it.
Right.
And so it's been a little bit of an uphill battle in that sense, because we were so early in identifying the issue that the market we were trying to meet, we weren't there yet. Sure. So we had to then work with, different outlets such as electric utilities and auto dealers to get the word out. And what we found, our initial business model was working with utilities that they are a fuel provider now, and they don't speak automotive, and frankly, oftentimes they don't have to market that much because they have monopolies.
Right.
So we were a very good conduit for them to have a new conversation, not only with their customers, but then in the dealer experience. That's where our software solution in the kiosk, the beacon, was leveraged, and a lot of drivers have found us that way. So it's been a combination of strategic partnerships to get the word out, but also, to be perfectly honest, recognizing we had to be patient. It wasn't, to your point you said earlier, I don't always go for that quick hit PR moment.
Yeah.
Everybody's always trying to make noise, and I don't want to dilute what we're building just for a quick hit moment.
Yeah.
I'd rather showcase that we're thoughtful and that we have a great product and that we know where it needs to be, and that has required a lot of patience and strategy to just keep it going.
I think I was thinking about, as you were saying, patience to me is key and king in this industry. The people I've seen succeed, patience, understated, and not too boisterous. So now, speaking of how you get customers, now my next question is, how does Chargeway make money?
Yeah, so we had to find ourselves like answering that question of, so how do we turn this into a business? Because originally it was just an idea for how we talk, and communicate as an industry.
Right.
So what we found quickly was, by developing out the software platform that really could work throughout the entire customer journey, online, in showrooms, and in someone's pocket, inevitably in their car. What we found was, okay, well, who's investing in the space right now for informing the public, and it was utilities, and still is utilities in many ways. So we were able to build a model around a B2B experience with our kiosk that served the needs of utilities that needed to explain to dealerships why the utility was a part of the buying experience for a car now.
Right.
And in turn, then help explain how the cars worked. And inevitably that got people into our mobile platform. But for the longest time, the mobile app was, hey, this is a resource you can take with you.
Right.
Now we've built out a lot of features in the mobile app, such as Chargeway Plus. You can subscribe to it monthly, and we do more advertising in the app. But we didn't want to just start throwing ads into an app for ads' sake. We wanted to make sure that the product we were offering to drivers was really thoughtful, but that business model then required working with stakeholders to allow us to grow and validate what we were doing. And that was for the longest time utilities, but now it's more of a blend of our B2B model with utilities and dealerships, as well as getting into working with OEMs and obviously drivers with the mobile app.
So Chargeway Plus, that's a paid subscription by the driver.
Yes.
And then I heard you say there's ads. So in the paid version, there's ads, or?
Well, we don't put ads just on the station map, for example. Like there's some models that some apps use. They'll say, hey, if you pay us, we'll get rid of the ads for you.
Sure. Right.
The ad part is really about an ad model that is really tailored to the user. Instead of just carpet bombing with ads, if we put an ad in front of you, we want it to be related to your ownership experience. Okay. So we work with aftermarket companies for adapters for particular cars. We work with utilities that have programs in particular zip codes and geolocations. We want that information in front of drivers because we don't want them to be inundated with information that's not useful to them.
All right, so basically it's ads relevant to an EV driver. So I'm guessing more along the lines of, like you said, not M&Ms or Valentine's
Arby's
Day flowers
here
or Arby's. It's hey, here's an adapter. I don't know. Can you give me an example of at least one more, just so I'm not driving down one lane?
So a good example is we met with a company recently at the Electrify Expo event that has a product called EVhover, where it's basically for home charging, and it's a thing you mount on your wall, and you can then manage your cable above you instead of on the ground. And so those who subscribe to Chargeway Plus and users of Chargeway, they can answer a questionnaire that lets us know what their lifestyle is. And if they tell us they're a non-homeowner, we're not going to promote that product to them.
Got it.
But if they tell us, hey, yeah, I charge at home, this might be a product that is going to be beneficial to their ownership experience.
Okay, and I guess modifications to cars too would eventually be helpful, right? Like I would want to make certain changes to my Ford, but I don't know where to begin. But if something catered to me,
we just started building out that ad model because we wanted to make sure we were being thoughtful about it. As you said, the patient part is there's a lot of ways we could monetize, but at the end of the day, we want to have a product that really is something that people can fall in love with and not feel like they have to weed through stuff they don't want to use it.
Fast forward to whatever time you think it is, but Chargeway's won. They won in the way that you want it to win. What does winning look like?
Winning looks like automakers, utilities, and charging networks adopting the language we've developed that is universal in the sense that it works agnostically for every charging network, every vehicle, in every city, for every utility. And it translates into a collaborative communication around electric fuel that is simple to understand and also customized to each owner so that we can actually accelerate as a collaborative industry what we want to get done. It's not about independent wins, it's about industry winning, and that's really what we wanted Chargeway to be, was a glue for that.
Right, and that's why I told you I respect what you're doing, because I found you to be a player that's about the industry winning, where I think some companies are out for their company winning and their investors, and it's like that is a way to succeed, but this is a new industry. You need such deep and often collaboration, I guess, like ample collaboration.
It's the hard part about it is we're at the beginning of this industry figuring out what it is, right? And some of us who've been in it for, again, I've been in it for 10 years, there's plenty of people who've been in it longer than me.
Sure.
It's still the beginning. But in the ways we know where the technology works and how it works, EVs work for millions of people, but most of those people still don't know how that works, and that's what we're trying to solve.
So you mentioned winning looks like, being everywhere. You essentially said every state, every geography. A question that did come to mind is, are there plans, or maybe I'm just oblivious to this, is Chargeway operating outside of the United States, say all of North America? Do you have plans to expand? And then really, have you thought, if you haven't yet, have you looked at what Chargeway could look like operating in Europe and what those insights might give you to build better in the US?
Oh yeah, so from the outset, we looked at what was happening globally from plug types and everything else. So Chargeway as a system has been developed out to work around the world. Okay. So we're in market in North America, so US and Canada. Okay. But we've talked to a lot of stakeholders around the world, including Australia, India, Europe. So yeah, the vision is we can take it there. But at the end of the day, it also turns into, as I mentioned earlier, like we were early in identifying this problem. And a lot of the industry, I think, was just kind of thinking, people keep buying these cars because they do their homework and they want them. They're figuring it out. But we have really reached critical mass on that. And I think this is actually, we've survived to now. And I think the timing for what we have as a solution is actually, I think, really good timing.
A big topic for probably the last two-ish years, and it just continues to catch on fire and accelerate, AI. Is there any component of, for all you investors out there listening, is like, oh, are we about to, give buckets of money to Matt? Tell us.
Oh, yes. Yes, you should.
Oh, you heard the buckets of money.
Yes, you should help us grow this as fast as possible. We've got a lot of machine learning and within our software that, the thing with the AI conversation, a lot of people say it for the hype of it, for what it is.
Agreed.
I have jokingly said we've had AI in Chargeway since day one, and people go, oh wow, that's incredible. And I said, yeah, it's actual intelligence. Because a lot of people were building software for EV charging that was just data for data's sake, dumped into an interface, and then handed to the consumer, and there you go.
Right.
And there was no intelligent design around that. It was not designed for the driver.
Sure.
Or consumers. That's what we've done since day one. But as we've improved our software over time, we've been able to create more intelligent software that allows us to do a lot of things in an automated fashion. So the AI conversation, again, I don't like saying hype for hype's sake.
Right.
So I'm not going to start, peppering to the world like, oh, our integrated AI model is all these things. My response is just use our software. Download the app and see what it does differently than everyone else. And it's a combination of we knew what to build, but we've also built very intelligent software that makes it work. And there is a lot of calculations that go into that are automated. So, yeah.
Right. Okay. Perfect. All those people with their checkbooks ready to write Matt and Chargeway a check. He's got AI.
Yeah, I was gonna say we've got AI, actual intelligence, but there's a lot of in there that is intelligent truly for the software. But yeah, I think that the industry has gotten sucked into a lot of that just hype bubble moment type conversations a lot. And there's a lot of people that I've known for a long time who had products that are now referencing how they have AI.
Sure.
And I get it. It's the hot topic.
Right.
But it's got to be useful. Actually, what does the driver need?
It's wild when we're driving through the Bay Area, like the billboards, like
Oh,
I'm used to
every one of
grocery
them.
stores and stuff. This was just like AI this. I was like, I'd never seen that. It felt like that show, Silicon Valley.
Yeah.
Of just like, I'm driving through this very tech city that's just bombarding me with.
And some of them, I was down there for the Electric Expo event in San Francisco about a month ago, and I remember looking at the billboards, and half of them I read them, I was like, what's this supposed to even mean?
Exactly.
And if I'm saying that as someone that's in, again, a tech world of products, that doesn't vote, again, but who are those billboards for?
Right.
In the Bay Area? Well, it's mostly for industry.
Right. So I've been curious about the beacons. I know you put them into dealers. And again, for those watching and they're not familiar yet, we'll try to do some separate coverage of the beacons at a dealer, I think at a Volvo dealership.
Yeah.
But getting those into dealers, do you have a sales team that's like calling up each and every dealer in America? You're starting from the top down, at a Toyota, a Nissan, a Hyundai. How are you getting them into dealers? And the question that I have is it easier to just be in your own backyard and play ball here? Or you're like, no, Florida, that's like, we're really focused on Florida for whatever. How are you going to market with where you get beacons into?
Again, we started that program about 5 years ago. Okay. And one of the first people that told me the moment that's a thing, let me know, is the executive director of the Oregon Auto Dealers Association. And I've known him for a long time. Again, my background's the Oregon Auto Dealers Association. Okay. And I've known him for a long time, and I've done work with him, again, with my background automotive, and he was one of the first people I showed the customer journey to, where Chargeway fit into it. Yeah. And when he saw the beacon concept, he said, when that's real, tell me. And so the first beacons we deployed were in dealerships in Oregon, and that was in partnership with the utilities, Portland General Electric and Pacific Power, in partnership with the Dealer Association that helped us identify dealers that had inventory of EVs and that were proactive in saying, we want to be on the front edge of this.
Right.
And so that's where it started, but almost all of our beacons that we've deployed have been in partnership with utility programs.
Okay.
They are the new fuel provider, so they need to be out there in their communities talking about it. That includes dealerships where they can talk about not only electricity as a fuel, but programs they have for customers. And so that's how it's really worked, but we've started to piecemeal in dealers that contact us independently or dealer groups that reach out to us and say, our OEM partners have not given us an answer for this, and we've heard you guys have a solution. So I think for the longest time, and it's still the truth, is that the dealers don't see themselves as those who need to answer questions about fuel.
Right.
So they've always had a partner in fossil fuels.
Yeah.
So they kind of look at it and say, who's going to solve this for us? So the utilities have been a good partner in that respect, but it's going to be a blend over time, I think, how we work with both utilities and dealers.
Okay. So then, interestingly, because I think of utilities in my space, in the world I live in on EV charging, utilities will cover incentives to pay for charging. So I'm kind of curious, are incentives by any measure paying to get Chargeway beacons into dealers?
It's a big
or is it dealer purchased?
It's a big part of it's mostly the utilities, as I mentioned. So there's again, individual dealers we have worked with that are seeing the value of what we do, partly because we had to kind of graduate into a more mass market product line.
Right.
Again, 5-6 years ago, it was only a handful of brands.
Right.
But now we've got over 100 plug-in cars. But really it is the utilities, they look at what our product does, is it does a few things for them. It translates their fuel into a conversation that makes sense to everyday people. But to your point about incentives, it's a way for people to engage with their other programs. So we can market those incentives to customers in the buying process. But then also afterwards in the mobile app, we can also let them know information about incentives from the utility that are in their area.
Okay.
Yeah.
For like free nights and weekends, or I don't know if that happens out here, but like
time of use rates,
yeah.
Level 2 home charging programs where the utility will pay for your level 2 charger, managed charging programs that are managed by other companies that the utilities want people to sign up for. Those are all examples of where we can promote that to the right people based on where they live, what they drive, and we can make sure that they're seeing something, again, that's related to their ownership experience.
Okay, cool. I've always been curious, how big is the Chargeway team?
Oh, I mean, we're a handful of people. You can count us on one hand.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I mean, we've got some contract people we've worked with over the years as well from both development and sales side, but our core team is less than 5 people.
Okay, lean and efficient. I think that's the name of the game. We're seeing that with big companies who spend a lot of dollars and can't make it. So
I've had really candid conversations with other companies in the EV software world, EV charging software world, where they've got venture funding, they've built these teams super big and fast. And I had a conversation with another founder, and he's like, "How big's your team?" And I told him that, and he was taking notes, and he just stopped writing. He went, "What?" He said, "How?" And I went, "Why? How big's your team?" He goes, "I have like 100+ people."
Right.
And I said, "Well, again, I think you're in a different world than I am, maybe, but realistically speaking, if you are efficient with what you're building and you know what you're building, I think you can be very lean on not just, we need a bigger team. We need more people to build it faster, but what we've accomplished with the team we have, I think is impressive."
When you started Chargeway, was it bootstrapped? I mean, like building a beacon, I just think of hardware. Like for me to say, hey, today I'm building my own charger, that requires capital, design, fabrication, engineering, know-how. So where did that come from?
Oh yes, the software is the core of our product. Okay. On the hardware side, the kiosk, the beacon that we have, that was a process of really procurement, of just looking what was out there. And we looked at a variety of ways we could write our software to work with, basically native solutions. Mm-hmm. Was it Windows-based? Was it Android-based? Things like that.
Right.
And we were able to, again, through efficiencies, develop out both iOS and Android mobile apps, and then leverage our Android software in a large Android kiosk to then bring that to market faster.
Okay.
Yeah. So
and just truly, I don't know when the beacon started in your journey, but was that when angel investment was helping to shoulder like those costs, or were you shouldering it all?
No, what helped us get to market is I had to, basically Photoshop what I wanted the product to be.
Sure.
And then sat down and again, I went and met with a lot of different VCs, but the first angel investor that got us down the road to really develop the software platform was really about the software focus first. Okay. And that from that development, we were able to then create the beacon software. Then we could deploy that out and then source those hardware components.
How easy has life gotten that? I bet when you said you Photoshopped the conceptuals of the beacon, like ChatGPT wasn't there, right?
No.
I'm having a blast designing all my wildest ideas with just like, hey, can you make an image of this? Boom, done.
Yep. No, again, that's my background. Again, marketing, branding. I had a marketing agency for over a decade, and a lot of what we did was, again, communication, branding, and advertising campaigns. And so Photoshop's something I've just played around with for my entire career. So when I thought to myself, what should this look like? I just sat down and made it look that way. Yeah.
So moving into your entrepreneurship journey, I know we covered the business, but entrepreneurship wise, you told me you shared some stories about that started at a young age. And is that like, you worked at agencies, then you went on, like was Chargeway your first endeavor into entrepreneurship?
Oh no, yeah. I started really young. I think what really started was that we talked about the first car I had growing up in high school. That exposed me to the automotive aftermarket, how to get sponsorships, and how to build projects through storytelling in a 3D world of hey, it's a car.
Yeah.
And through that, it really then was what can I do with these things I've learned? And I thought I was going to go into corporate America. I went and got a marketing degree, Gonzaga University.
What was your undergrad was marketing?
Marketing.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And
I totally thought you had an engineering degree. Maybe I was thinking at Gonzaga.
No, I mean, my background is marketing and PR.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, people ask me what I do now. I'm like, oh, I accidentally founded a software company, but I love it.
Yeah, I get it.
But no, the entrepreneur part is it always was there. And I've had other ventures I've started over the years that I, again, had interest in at the time and wanted to give it a shot. But the agency that I founded and ran for over a decade was built on the fact that I liked doing things kind of the way that I like doing things.
Sure.
But then I could do that on behalf of clients that needed that type of support. It was a great mix. But inevitably it led to, is this what I want to do forever? And the answer is no. I wanted to work on something that was going to have a greater impact on, frankly, what you see behind us, which is I love cars, but I also want to be a good steward of what we're doing with the planet.
I'm glad you went there. So this, like I said, has been a vision for a long time, and I wanted literally this to almost like hit two senses, right? Like the visuals subconsciously say, how beautiful is that?
Yeah.
And hey, it is so beautiful. That's why I like to think the work I'm doing is important. I like to think the work you're doing is important. Mm-hmm. And you know what? I actually think people in the EV industry have somewhat shied away from like, it's not the environment. You know, there's some peers of ours that we know, and they're like, it's not about the environment. And it doesn't have to be, but it can be. And I think some people have push the brakes too hard. We're like, we're not going to touch the environment. And I don't know. What are your thoughts on that generally? Like, do you keep this part personal? And it's like, I run a business and it's a business and we make money and we do it for these things. Or do you add the elements of like, or that's just more personal storytelling?
I think somehow being thoughtful about the environment became politicized, which is crazy. And I think that if you go and talk to someone, again, my family's from Idaho. And part of why I love nature is I would go camping in Idaho as a kid. And if you go to anybody who is not from what would be considered now a left-leaning state, and you talk to them, oftentimes these are people that do engage with the outdoors a lot.
Right.
And they do love them.
Right.
And so I don't think that's it's far-fetched for them to think like the environment's a good thing. But when it's front and center, because of how it's been presented for the last 10, 20 years, it comes across as something that they almost, like it doesn't pass their smell test.
Yeah.
They're like, you're trying to make me do something that I may not want to do. I think the fringe benefit of electrification, clean energy, decarbonizing is that we get to keep this beautiful. And I think that anybody who lives in a place that is surrounded by this all the time would appreciate that.
Right.
So it is about storytelling.
Yeah.
It is about making sure that when you're talking to folks, and you do this all the time, when you independently talk to someone, those interpersonal conversations, you can get a different response.
Right.
And I just think we have to be thoughtful of how we communicate. And so is environment part of the discussion? Sure. I don't think it needs to be front and center. I think we need to be pragmatic about what we're talking about.
And I just think like, there's places all over the country, like I'm in Houston, like I don't know scientifically or documented wise what the pollution is, but you mentioned growing up, I think it was in SoCal, like you'd see the smog and the pollution and like, how could someone not want this? This is like, there's a high of just being here where it's the scenery for the eyes, the fresh air, the sounds. I mean,
well, people do care about it. I mean, if you look at even recently, from the federal government when they were trying to pass within that bill, the big beautiful one, which I don't think is beautiful at all.
Yeah.
But when they did try to pass as much as they could, part of that was basically opening up national parks to drilling and everything. And it was very clear that people from states that may not have voted, for a Democrat, they jumped in quick and said, "You are not touching that."
Right.
So again, I do think that's a universal thing that we do care about. We just have to find the conversation that glues that together for what EVs mean to that.
Yeah, I think you're spot on, and like because this has EVs, someone picked it up and said it's a political thing. But you're right. If they look at it as I love the environment and just avoid EVs, it's like I love the environment. Why not? Who doesn't like fresh air, fresh clean water? The sun.
I think the skepticism comes from, again, a lot of people you might hear say, I don't really want to hear anything about the environment, is they might point to something along the lines of doom and gloom discussions that have been voiced related to what's going to happen to the environment.
Sure.
The reality is we are seeing the impacts of a warming planet on the environment. Mount Hood used to be covered in snow. Even through the summertime.
Okay.
My friends that grew up here in the Portland area, they're like, I used to go skiing in July.
Oh, wow.
And so we have the visual evidence this is happening, but it is a slow burn. Right? It's only when we have these catastrophic things that happen in places where we see an impact from extreme weather or something occurs, that people feel it personally, because the aesthetic of that, it's like, oh yeah, it used to be snowy, but the sun's shining. And I think that's the challenge, is that a lot of people have, it's like the boy who cried wolf. And I think a lot of people have said, yeah, I don't believe that we're seeing it, because they haven't felt it. And we have to just get to a place of explaining EVs as an example. It isn't about the environment. It is about the fact that it'll save people money. And so we talk about that a lot in the industry, but at the end of the day, they might even hear it saves them money, but they go, yeah, but if I don't trust buying the truck or the car, I don't care.
Right.
People will pay for things they fall in love with. They will justify spending way more money on something that they love.
True.
That's where we now need to pivot for EVs, because September 30th is around the corner and the bribes are running out.
Yeah. And you make a great point. I'm learning as a business owner, value. Value is what you pay for, right? You'll pay anything for value. Like, I think that's been a point for me. Like, I wanted to showcase the cold drinks sitting in my front right now, but I didn't use it correctly. But my point is, if you get to functional, people are like, oh, I want that. What does it cost? I like that. It contributes to my life, my lifestyle. So yeah,
people pay for value and convenience,
right?
And so a lot of the arguments I think they've been used in the EV world for years of like, oh, everybody hates going to the gas station. And my response is, I don't think people hate it. I think they just see it as a necessary evil to own their car. Right. So is it something that they are truly, oh, I hate this? Some people are like, yeah, I don't want to be a bother. But if you say to them, here's a new way to fill up, and you can't explain it in a way that makes sense,
right?
They're gonna go, you know what? Yeah, I might not like it, and it might be expensive, but I don't have to think.
Yeah.
That's important for how we brand and market EVs moving forward.
It should be mindless, honestly. So just before we start closing out, should automakers be leaning into, like, doubling down on EVs, or should we be going heavier into plug-in hybrid electrics, things like that? Thoughts on that?
I think the plug-in hybrid is a great option for getting people to kind of have their lily pad moment, like go from gas to plug-in hybrid.
Because I feel like we skipped it. From a mass marketing perspective, we went from Prius hybrid, then straight to EV, but we forgot, like, hey, let's give you a plug-in.
The use cases for those I think are important. Like, for example, if you're a homeowner, they're beautiful because they'll basically make you only buy gas a few times a year.
Right.
But as for pure electrics, I think that is going to be something that is still the path we'll go in the long run. I think the challenge with plug-in hybrids is that we're talking powertrain.
Right.
That's a hybrid, that's a plug-in hybrid, that's a battery electric. That's not how people are going to understand this. You need to say, that runs on gas, that runs on electricity and gas,
Got it.
that runs on electricity. We are not talking about the fuel experience, and that is fundamentally what makes these products actually operate, and people are still confused about that.
Well, I think it's important because obviously there's just never enough time in the day to flesh through the,
as we're seeing.
Yeah, literally. Sunlight's falling on us, but I want to make sure people know exactly where they can continue to learn more about Chargeway. I do genuinely, that's why I drove 3,000 miles to get here, enjoy the setting, learn from you, hear your story, learn about your business. So where can people continue to follow more about you? I personally follow Matt on LinkedIn, but is there other sources and outlets that they should follow you?
Well, yeah, I mean, number one is just download the Chargeway app. It's on iOS and Android. Download it, add your EV or add EVs you're interested in shopping for. It'll really paint the picture for how you can understand each one.
And maybe even do it before you get an EV.
Yeah.
Because it might show you how easy it actually can be.
A lot of people have told us they use it as a shopping tool.
Right.
And so, give that a shot. And then once they own it, they love it. But then you can find us at chargeway.net, and then any social media platform, we are just Chargeway.
Okay.
And that's everything from Facebook to Instagram to LinkedIn to Twitter X, whatever you want to call it. And it really is important to us that we talk to more people that are getting into this space that have the questions.
Yeah.
We are a resource, not only from the product, but from our team. So reach out to us.
Okay, perfect. Well, man, I super appreciate you taking the whole day off to come do this with me. I wish we had time to go grab a kayak. I'm gonna have to come back to this off camera and just enjoy this.
Yeah.
But for anyone watching this, if you wanna do interviews more in this format, I think it leverages just showcasing the beauty in this country, the world. Reach out to us, drop a comment below about where else we should interview, other founders and leaders in the space that we should speak with. So again, Matt, I appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
Thank you for making the time. Again, I was not gonna pass up this view, obviously, but what you're talking about is important. We have to be talking, have better communication, and I think what you're working on is gonna be really fundamental to that.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
All right. I hope you enjoyed that conversation. Now's a great time to like and subscribe to this channel before you never see us again. That concludes the executive interviews as part of this road trip. But there are still so many more conversations and insights to share from the road about EV charging infrastructure. And of course, more beautiful American landscapes like this to share with you on the return drive to Texas. If you're just now tuning in to this road trip, make sure you're following the Fast and the Curious and our sponsor, Pangea Charging, on all social media.